Hello, this is the Bible in fewer words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 84, Judges, chapter 1 and 2. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/BFW. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol.
We are in a new book.
We are. This is a very exciting book.
In which way do you mean that?
I mean that there's a lot that's going on in the book of Judges.
Oh, okay. Should we get into it?
We should.
Great. Chapter 1, verse 1. After Joshua died, the Israelites asked God, saying, "Who will help us fight the Canaanites?"
God said, "The people of Judah will lead the fight. I've delivered the land into their hands."
So that's a funny thing to say, delivered the land into their hands. What he really means is, I killed a bunch of people and now you guys can move in.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what he exactly means, except for that the people were saying, now that Joshua's gone, who's going to lead us?
Yeah.
And he's saying, the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to deliver the people into their hands.
Okay. So the people of Judah fought the Canaanites. God delivered the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hand. And 10,000 Canaanites were killed. When he says Canaanites, I think Canaan, and that's where the Israelites are going. So I don't see them as bad guys. But if they lived in Canaan and the Israelites are coming to take it over, I mean, they're not bad guys, but they got to be wiped out.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake, always, to talk about good guys and bad guys in the Bible.
Okay.
I don't think that ever is appropriate, because it's people that either they're on God's side or they're not, but the good or bad doesn't seem to fit at all.
It doesn't. And I'm thinking I'm reading a novel where I'm aligning myself with one side or another. You know, you kind of think, oh, there's the good guys.
Yeah, there's no sympathetic characters here, I don't think.
Okay, so...
But as far as the Canaanites go, I'm like you. I tend to think of Canaanites being occupants of the land of Canaan.
And they have to be wiped out.
Yes, but it's not that simple.
No.
There are many different tribes, and I think the Canaanites is just one of the tribes that live in the land of Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, God helped the tribe of Judah wipe out, kill 10,000 Canaanites.
Okay, verse 6. Adonibezek fled, but they caught him and cut off his thumbs and big toes. Ouch!
Yeah.
And is he just a Canaanite? Adonibezek?
He's a king.
He's a king.
Yeah, I guess he's a Canaanite king, but it's a strange thing to do, cutting off thumbs and big toes.
Is that just the beginning of him dying, or he's just going to get to live?
Yeah, they're just tormenting him before he dies. But then they have him say, he said.
Yeah, who's the he?
He is the guy that I don't want to try to pronounce.
Adonibezek.
Adonibezek?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so Adonibezek said, I cut off the thumbs and big toes of 70 kings who ate under my table. God is punishing me for that. So I guess he's kind of okay with it. No, I cut off the thumbs and big toes of 70 kings that were eating under my table.
Uh-huh. That is kind of weird. They were his guests and he did that to them?
I guess so, yeah.
So now he gets his thumbs and big toes cut off.
Yeah, and then it just says that they brought him to Jerusalem, where he died. I don't know if he died of his wounds, which you might die from
just blood.
Bleed out.
Yeah.
Or whether they killed him, or I don't know. Anyway, he died.
So I guess that's an eye for an eye thing, you know? A toe for a toe.
I think so, yeah. The people of Judah killed everyone in Jerusalem and set it on fire.
Oh, Jerusalem.
Yeah.
That's the one that I kind of connect with. I kind of know where Jerusalem is, maybe.
Right. I think it's the same place.
Same place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different people living there, I guess.
Uh-huh. But always kind of, conflicted country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You notice how I skipped a bunch of verses here?
Yes.
Going from 8 to 16.
Uh-huh.
And the reason for that is that they're going to tell us again about Caleb and Othniel. So they just repeat that story here, so I left it out.
Okay, thank you. So, verse 16. The inhabitants of Ziphath, Gaza, Ascalon, and Ekron were killed, and the cities were destroyed. I still don't understand why the cities have to be destroyed.
Yeah, I don't know either. God was with Judah when he drove out the mountain people, but God couldn't drive out the valley people since they had chariots of iron.
God has a weak spot.
Well, this is just right at the beginning of the Iron Age. We're going from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age.
Uh-huh.
And so God just didn't know what to do with iron. Those iron chariots were just more than God could handle.
I guess so.
And so he couldn't do it.
Okay. Verse 22. The tribe of Joseph sent spies to Bethel, who saw a man leaving the city. They said to him, "Show us the city entrance, and we'll show you mercy."
The man showed them the entrance, and they killed everyone in Bethel, except for the man and his family.
How would you feel if you were that man?
I don't know.
I guess you're between a rock and a hard place.
It's bizarre, though. It's always this: the spies go in and they meet somebody and they kind of make friends with them, and then they kill everybody except for that one person, like they did with Rahab, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Israelites couldn't drive out the inhabitants of 17 Canaanite cities.
Yeah, so it just lists them here. Lists all 17 of these cities. You can see in verses 27 through 34.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of summing it up by saying that they couldn't drive out the people in those 17 cities.
So I guess God was taking a nap or something when they were attacking
They may have had iron chariots. I don't know. But they couldn't drive them out.
Okay.
Chapter 2. An angel said, "I told you to make no treaties with the inhabitants of this land and to destroy their altars, but you didn't obey me. So I won't drive them out." So maybe that's why those other cities didn't get driven out, because they weren't being mean enough.
Yeah. It sounds like when they couldn't drive them out, they just said, "All right, well, let's make a deal."
Yeah, they were making treaties and making deals, making peace, and the angel was not happy with that.
Yeah. Not destroying their altars.
And their people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When all the Israelites heard the angel's words, they cried out loud and wept.
Yeah.
I mean, how much land do the Israelites need anyway? Can't they live peacefully with other people around them?
I don't know. Guess not.
I guess not.
Now we're going to get into something that is going to be repeated. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's there at the end of chapter 2. That's going to tell what's going to happen throughout the book of Judges.
Oh, a spoiler.
Yeah, it's just repeated over and over again. But it's kind of telling us what's going to happen, so we'll go ahead with it.
Okay, so we're going to hear it once.
We're going to hear what's going to happen.
Okay.
It's a cycle. It's going to be repeated over and over again.
Okay. So verse 14. God's anger was hot against Israel, and he sold them to their enemies.
Yeah, that's always step one, is he's angry with them, and he sells them to their enemies. I hope he got a good price.
Me too. Well, wait a minute. So the guys that they made deals with that they couldn't destroy, those are their enemies.
It's various people, various surrounding people. But when the Israelites misbehave, God sells them.
All right.
That's step one.
Wherever the Israelites went, the hand of God was against them, and they were greatly distressed.
Nevertheless, God selected judges who delivered the Israelites from the people he sold them to.
This reminds me of Egypt.
Yeah, kind of.
But he was trying to get them out of Egypt because they were being mistreated there.
It's a little different, and we'll go through this because this is an actual cycle, whereas Egypt was kind of one thing.
Yeah, a one-off. Mm-hmm. Okay. But the Israelites didn't listen to the judges and went whoring after other gods.
God was with the judges, and he delivered the Israelites out of their enemies' hand. God repented because the Israelites groaned so much.
I guess that's another step. The Israelites have to groan.
Yeah, and I'm not making that up. That's what the text says, that they groaned so much that God just repented. And it's interesting that God would repent because
God
that's
doesn't
changing
repent.
your mind is what he's talking about here. So anyway, we got that.
Okay, so verse 19. As soon as a judge died, the Israelites became even more corrupt by following other gods.
And so God became angry again and said,
Because these people haven't listened to me, I won't drive out any of the nations that Joshua left when he died.
that way I can find out if they will keep my ways or not.
So
What a plan, huh?
He's testing them.
Yeah, he's testing him, and he also wants to find out because he doesn't know.
Uh-huh.
You know, there shouldn't be anything that God doesn't know. But he has to do all of this
to find out.
To find stuff out, yeah.
So verse 23. So God didn't drive out the nations that were still around when Joshua died.
And then I had the little cycle there.
Uh-huh.
That's the cycle that's going to be repeated. Everything happy, you know, serving the Lord. Then they fall into sin.
Yes.
And they don't obey God. Then God sells them to their enemies. Israel groans and cries out to God. God sends a judge to save them. And then that judge then destroys all their enemies.
Uh-huh.
And Israel is delivered. And then they are good for a while.
And
then
then
that
they
judge
fall
dies
into sin.
and they fall into sin.
Oh my gosh.
It's repeated over and over again. There's just a complete spoiler here. There's 12 judges. We're going to go through this cycle.
12 times. Okay. Well, maybe you will say, okay, this is cycle number 4.
Oh, no.
No?
No. I mean, the basic idea is there.
Okay.
But the people are changing and the events and it's very interesting. There won't be a dull moment in Judges.
Oh. Just different characters.
So I won't have to leave any of it out. Or very little.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing this with me.
Sure.
And listeners, thanks for staying with us. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.